Hello friends, today I am going to give you information about a saffron farming business idea. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Saffron is obtained from the flowers of the saffron crocus, from the pair Unicabe family. The plant itself is called saffron for short. Saffron crocuses bloom in autumn and are harvested for their red licorice which, when dried, becomes the spice saffron. Each color contains 3 lollipops that are carefully separated from the color. The flowers should be picked by noon, because they wither quickly. It is a laborious process and for this reason saffron is such an expensive spice for the so-called red gold. The saffron crocus grows very well in areas where temperatures vary from no more than 35 C, 40 C in summer and down to 15 C 20 C in winter, which makes bog area an ideal climate for growing saffron crocus. Bulbs are able to survive winter conditions because they have the ability to hibernate. The saffron crocus adapts easily to the soil where it is planted. It grows well in dry and semi-dry soils. The bulbs adapt well to calcareous or clay soils. They also grow well in forest, clay and sandy soils rich in organic matter. What's really important is that the soil is loose so the roots can grow deep and with good drainage to prevent rot and infection. Saffron crocus is best planted in fields that slope to the south, which provides maximum sun exposure. Saffron plants need direct sunlight and do not thrive in shade. For the cultivation of saffron, areas are chosen where potatoes, carrots, onions, garlic, flowers suffering from the same diseases as saffron daffodils, irises, freesias, gladioli, etc. alfalfa, beans, clover and others have not been grown in the last 3 years. Saffron can also grow well on poor light and sandy soils with appropriate fertilization. Before planting, it is good to enrich the soil with preparations after consultation with experts, which significantly increases the yield of saffron. Nitrogen can be added to increase the yield of flowers, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium. The addition of calcium protects the plant in case of drought, high and low temperatures, diseases. In order to get healthy and beautiful flowers, it is necessary to choose quality material for planting. Healthy bulbs should have no signs of rotting or injury to the bulb. The color of the bulb should be uniform, without spots. The scales should adhere tightly to the body of the bulb. The bottom should be whole. Bulbs are planted at a depth of 7 to 15 cm. Yields and quality are affected by climate, planting depth and bulb spacing. Bulbs planted deeper produce fewer flower buds and daughter bulbs, but the resulting saffron is more HIGH quality. Planting the bulbs 15 cm deep gives optimum saffron strands, and shallower planting 8 to 10 cm gives the most flowers and daughter bulbs. The bulbs are planted at a distance of 5 to 10 cm from each other. The distance between the beds should ideally be 20 to 30 cm. The optimal planting practices take into account the climate characteristic of the respective country. For Bulgaria, it is best to plant them from the end of August to the beginning of September. Traditionally, raised beds are used to ensure good drainage. After wintering, the bulbs form the narrow leaves and begin to bud in autumn. Only in October does the flowering begin. Collecting the colors is necessarily a quick job. After blooming at dawn, the flowers quickly wither under the midday sunday. Moreover, all saffron crocuses bloom in a short period of 1 or 2 weeks. Bulbs are not planted in winter, and there is no such thing as winter planting. Saffron is not planted in spring either, as it still has roots and foliage. Saffron needs to be nourished to give a nice color. It is best to improve the soil with peat and compost soil in a ratio of about 10 kg per square meter. This is done before planting the saffron. Saffron is mainly fertilized before transplanting and then fed once in the spring/summer/autumn when the green leaves appear above the ground. Saffron is fertilized during the period of active growth. Saffron should not be fertilized with fertilizers containing chlorine, sodium and impurities of heavy metals, lead, cadmium and others. When buying the dried spice, analyses are made for contamination residues. It is important to use quality fertilizers. Saffron is extremely sensitive to salinity. It is best to make the fertilization program after a soil analysis, taking into account the characteristics of the soil, the variety and the climatic conditions in the area and the selected cultivation technology. The saffron crocus grown in Bulgaria has no specific needs in terms of irrigation. Only when the summer is very dry, one may be necessary. Usually, cultivation relies mainly on the rains. Rains falling just before flowering increase yields. The saffron crocus does not tolerate an excessive amount of water. The climate in bulb area is rich in rains at the end of winter and in spring, when the bulbs actually need moisture. This makes watering unnecessary and even contraindicated. Towards the middle of October, the saffron crocus begins to bloom, and this bloom lasts about 3 weeks. The field does not bloom 100% in one day, as more than one crocus grows from one bulb. The number depends on the size of the bulb and the year of the field. Harvesting takes place every day, early in the morning, before the flowers open. This is a mandatory condition. Exposing the lollipops to sunlight spoils the quality. Choose the time of harvesting saffron carefully, because the flowers of crocuses open maximally in just a few days, after which they gradually close and wither. If it is raining when the flowers are collected, the flowers should first be allowed to air dry, and then the stigmas should be separated from them. Depending on the size of the bulbs you have purchased also determines the flowering and density of the saffron crocus, i.e. the larger the diameter of the bulb, the greater the probability that it will bloom in the same fall and give more color, and therefore more saffron licks. Reproduction also depends on the size of the bulb, and the bigger it is, the more it will multiply. At the largest size, bulbs can multiply up to 5 times, i.e. if you bought a bulb size 10/11, next year you will have 5 more bulbs. When the flowers are collected, they should be moved to a place where the licks will be removed from them. This should be done very carefully and gently. The color itself is dissolved and the 3 lollipops are removed from it. Only the red part is used for seasoning. There should be no white or yellow parts of the lollipop. There are several ways to dry them. The most suitable for them is drying them at 45 degrees for 3 hours in a dehydrator. In this way, their valuable qualities are preserved and at the same time optimal drying is achieved. Dried saffron has a more saturated dark red color and a stronger smell. Immediately after the initial drying process is completed, the saffron is collected in glass jars. A napkin is placed inside to remove residual moisture and sealed tightly. Thus prepared, the saffron is placed in a dark place for 30 days. Then we have ready saffron. Saffron can be stored in this jar for a very long time without changing its quality. A lot of attention should be paid to this process, because it is very easy to dry out. Therefore, when going through this process one must be careful, because it is from this process that the quality of the saffron spice is determined. I hope I was helpful to you. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.